Today we are reading, customer leaves me his car keys and checkbook, theft tries to pawn item he stole from our store, and people are so lazy these days. Let's try to reach 300 likes for this video and make sure you subscribe to enjoy the craziest and the funniest retail stories. For more Tales from Retail videos, check out the playlist in the description. Congratulations Jay Partisan for the comment of the day, and now is the time to fight Karen. Let's do this. Customer leaves me his car keys and checkbook. I had quite the interesting shift yesterday. I work in a post office, and while I was helping someone, this customer comes up behind her and tries to get my attention. C for customer. Excuse me, sir, I need help. Hi sir, I'll just be a moment with you. I'm just helping someone. Okay. So after I finish with the customer in front of him, I ask him what he needs help with. To which he explained that he needs to send out multiple checks because his mom passed away. I did not catch the full reasoning, but I was kinda having a hard time understanding him. I tell him I'm sorry for his loss and offer him an envelope. So I handed him an envelope and a pen, and he let me take the customer behind him, which was generous, especially since there was a good line forming at this point. As I finished helping the customer that was behind him, he looks at me and sighs, getting frustrated. Could you please help me fill these checks out? I need help. Why do I put my credit card number? I'm sorry sir, I don't think I can fill the check out for you. Also, I don't think you need to put your credit card number on the check. Here, I need help please. He hands me the pen, and before I know it, he's reading his credit card number out loud enough for probably half the store to hear. Sir, I'm sorry, but you will have to fill the check out yourself, and I also will not advise reading your number out loud here. No, you don't understand. My mom just passed away. Yes, and I'm sorry to hear that, but I cannot do this for you. I will try my best to get you through, but I unfortunately cannot manually write it for you. He then starts getting worked up and calls his dad, and they start yelling at each other over the phone. So this guy is standing in front of my till, and I'm trying to take customers around him while he stands there just yelling nonstop on the phone. It was speakerphone too, and this went on for a good 45 minutes or so before he finally fills the checks out, and just before I think he's ready to send it, he asked me where to send it. Like, I'm sorry, but how am I supposed to know where to send your checks? I explained to him that I don't have the answer to that and suggested he call the bank to figure out the address, and he did just that. Only he decided the best place to call was right in front of my counter. So now, I'm trying to take customers around him again while he is yelling on the phone. Luckily, the customers were understanding, but oh man, it was frustrating. And the worst part, this lasted for around 2 hours. After those 2 hours, however, this customer decides to leave the store and tells me he'd be back. It was only after he left that I realized he had left his car keys, wallet, checkbook, and glasses on my counter. I sighed and take his stuff, putting it behind me so no one takes it. He left for around 45 minutes, and during that time, I was helping other customers and putting away packages that were dropped off earlier. Everything was okay, until he came back. He then showed me a few addresses and asked me to write it on the envelope, so I did. Then, he asked for the fastest service, so I tell him how much it is. It was around $14, and he agrees to it. So I tell him his total, and then he begins complaining to me, saying it was too much and I ripped him off, and so I'm just beyond frustrated at this point, but managed to keep my cool, explaining everything to him in the most professional way I can. Though I'm tired of him, since I've been there for almost 3 hours collectively. He finally gives up and hands me the money, and just when I am about to give him his change, he starts talking on the phone again and pacing around. So I'm just standing there with his change while a young couple is waiting behind him, pretty confused. I eventually give up and put his change and receipt off to the side along with the rest of his belongings so the couple is not waiting. Once they get up to my till, I apologize and they are super forgiving. And just as I thought I was done with this guy, he interrupts me mid-transaction with these people to ask where his change was, to which I exchange no words and just point at it on the counter. He lingers around my till for another 15 minutes or so, still yelling in his phone before finally leaving. I honestly am still so confused, but wow, it was quite the shift. Thief tries to pawn item he stole from our store. This was a couple of years ago when I worked at a pawn shop in a small college town. Yes, pawn shops are quite scummy, but most of us that worked there did our best to help people who were in a tough spot and needed quick cash. Anyway, it was a Sunday, which was one of the buzzier day of the week for the store as banks are closed and the only other pawn shop in town was also closed. When it was very busy, my 5 co-workers and I would generally be at the main counter where all the transaction took place. This pawn shop was quite spacious and open, while the counter being in the center of it all so we could see most of the store. With that said, there were corners of the store that were not entirely visible to someone working at the counter, especially someone staring at a computer screen as we often were when doing various transactions, though we had security cameras that could see everything. As we were all busy with customers at the counter, apparently someone decided to steal a pneumatic wrench located in the far corner. Completely unbeknownst to everyone working at that time, we get word from another customer that he thinks somebody walked out with an item. So we make note to check the security cameras when one of us is free. And none of us were overly concerned because everything is on camera. Well, not long after, we're talking about 30 minutes here. A guy and his friend come up to my spot at the counter and want to pawn a tool. They just need a little bit of gas money. Sure, no problem. First thing we had to do was enter the customer's driver's license information and to make sure they can do business there. If a customer is found to be pounding or selling stolen item to us, they are banned from the store. No problem there. He hands me this pneumatic wrench and I start looking up info on it and seeing how much money I can give him for it. Note, we had a ton of items in inventory and many tools. Unless it was a unique item or I had just put it out for sale recently, I will not instantly know that this particular tool was ours just by looking at it. However, everything in our system was inventoried with serial numbers, model numbers, brand, description, etc. This was not only required for a system, but for the police as well. We will send reports of everything pawned each day to the police so they can match with their reports of stolen goods. That's generally how people get caught. As soon as I entered the serial number in our system, the computer gave me a notification that this exact item already existed in inventory. I stalled until we got confirmation with security footage and it did not take long before we had the police there. Apparently, the guy and his friend wanted to steal from our store and then pawn it at the other pawn shop, but realized it was closed, so they figured they'd try and slip one past us. Truly baffling how they thought they could get away with it. I'm not sure exactly what happened after the cops escorted him outside. I know the store did not bother pursuing any action other than banning the guy. People are so lazy these days. In advance, apologies about the length of this. So for context, I work in a concession stand in a larger store in central London, and for various reasons, as sales assistants we are not allowed to sit down while we are on the shop floor. So this story happened a couple of days ago. I was doing a long shift, so I had been in since 7 and was not leaving until 4. I spent most of the morning unpacking our delivery and going back and forth between our stockroom and the shop floor. It is getting towards the end of my shift and my feet are a bit sore, so I go behind our till bench and squat down to have a drink, which is the most relief we can get. Now our tills are open-ended so customers can see me taking a tiny break. I am just about to get up when I hear this woman say, "Excuse me." M for me and A for the annoying woman. Excuse me, but I have been standing here for 15 minutes and no one has come over to help. Would you please get up and do your job? Now, there was 4 other people on our shop floor and it was fairly quiet, so I doubted that this was true, but I was adamant and that I was going to be polite, etc. Of course, ma'am, I am so sorry about the wait. What can I help you with today? She then proceeds to rattle off a list of items from candles and soaps to bed linen. I managed to catch most of what she wants and start to ask her the standard questions. So what kind of scents are you looking for the candles? I don't know, nice ones. Well, we have about 15 scents at the moment. Would you like to try some to see if you like the scent? No. Why would I want to do that? Just give me everything in a good scent. So I pick out our most popular and put it behind a counter and show her some of the other things, and she picks out towels, basket, some clothes, and some dinnerware. The last thing she wanted was bed linen, which is slightly detached from the rest of her section. I would say that by this point, I have asked a couple of the people working to help me by wrapping and packing her items. Ma'am, would you mind following me over to our bed linen areas so you can choose exactly what you want? Fine. So we have a great range at the moment. Where you're looking for a higher or lower thread count? Higher, of course. Who will even buy the lower thread counts? Poor people, I guess. Now I am a bit shocked at this, but I show her what she wants and she picks out her most expensive one. That's a great choice. I really like the design here. Of course it is, I picked it. Now, due to our limited floor space at the moment, we don't keep any of the largest size of bed linen on our shop floor. So I will pass you over to my colleague for anything else that you need while I run and grab anything you need from the stock room. I will probably be about 10 minutes. Is this okay? Fine, I guess, but please be quick. I'm quite important, you know. I rush to her stock room and grab everything I need. It's quite a lot, so I use a wheeled basket to take everything back to the shop floor. When I get back, I find my customer yelling at my manager about the appalling service and how she has been mistreated and everyone has been ignoring her and not being at all helpful. I approach carefully, apologize of the wait, and put her things on the till alongside the rest of her things. Well, it took you long enough. Oh, and you brought a trolley as well. Was it too much for you to carry? Honestly, the absolute laziness of this generation astounds me. I have been waiting for you for nearly half an hour. She had not. I'd been gone maybe 7 minutes. This is appalling customer service. She then turns to my manager. I would like this girl fired. She is clearly incompetent at her job. Ma'am, I am incredibly sorry for anything that has happened to you. Don't be effing sorry. Fire her. She does not hold the reputation of this store and does not deserve to work here. At this point, my close work friend has called security and the woman goes into overload. Why is she on the phone? Pointing at my friend. That is incredibly rude to be on the phone when a customer is talking to you. She then starts snapping her fingers to get my friend's attention. Excuse me, can you please pay attention? I'm talking here. Look, at all of this, it's a disgrace. These are not the products I asked for. They were. And this lady here did not even ask me what scented candles I wanted. She just assumed. She also drinking on the job. I saw her put a bottle of clear liquid in that cupboard. Shocker, it was water. And that was probably vodka. She seems like a drunk. I will state here that I am 18 and most definitely I am not drunk. And was sitting down. She clearly doesn't care about her job. She should be fired. At this point, security showed up and asked her to follow them. No, I am not following anyone until this girl is fired. Fire her. She is a C and she disrespected me. At this point, security says she will need to come with them or the police will be called. Fine, but I hope you lose your job and end up like the homeless wretch you deserve to be. I don't know what happened to her, but my manager apologized to me and reassured me that she knew that I did everything for the customer that I was supposed to do, and then told me to go home early. Guys, before you leave, please check our awesome I Don't Work Here Lady or Tales from Retail playlist. I am sure you will love it. Remember to help us reach 300 likes for this video, subscribe to the channel for more awesome Reddit stories, and hit the bell button to know exactly when we post a new video and join the notification gang. Thank you again for watching this second episode of Tales from Retail. See ya!